crackers, my brother and my family lived with him for a while, and he would always say, son, grandson, knothead, whatever he would call us, usually something derogatory. My brother and I were angels back in those days. And he's like, always remember this, you will lose everything. You'll lose your house, your money, you'll lose your family, you will be alone, you will be lost. If you keep your faith, you will continue to move forward. If you always have faith in the Lord, you will never, ever lose. Do you understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying to you? I'm only like 4 years old. You understand what I'm saying? I say it over and over all the time. Yeah, Granddaddy, we got it. You know, we're just answering it so we can go play. Yeah, Granddaddy, we got it. Yeah, Granddaddy, we got it. Anybody in here ever remember the first time you actually prayed? And I mean prayed. Early 80s, it might have been late 70s, early 80s, I think is when it was. My brother Marcus and I, 6 o'clock in the morning, turn the TV on. Okay, back in them days, TVs were big. It's all you, young man. And there were 2 knobs on them, 0 through 9. And then you put it on you, and there was like 99 channels in it. You only got 3 channels, but Saturday morning cartoons came on at 6 o'clock in the morning, and that was the biggest thing in the world for us because unlike today, you could only watch cartoons on Saturday. My brother and I are up at 6 o'clock in the morning, rocking those Underoos. Everybody remember Underoos? Who was born in the 1900s? Rocking those Underoos, waiting for Saturday morning cartoons to come on. 3 gunshots. Bam, bam, bam. I hear my mother scream. Mark's like, I go run in the front door, and my mom comes running by, and she's got to get in the car. We walk outside, my dad's standing in the driveway, and he's covered in blood. A burglar came calling. Shot my dad in the stomach. At that age, had no idea what was going on. Only seen that kind of stuff on TV. Mom said, jump in the car. Flying the airport, I was the first one out of the car. We had a white Lincoln with white leather interior. We had it covered, just blood soaked. Right in the young lady's shirt in the back of the room. I go running in the hospital. I'm like, my daddy's been shot. Luckily, there was a bunch of doctors standing there. They came running out. I run back outside, my dad's laying on the pavement. They pick him up, they haul him inside, and they put him in the gurney, and they're working on him, and my mom, we're all standing there, me and my brother, and they're like, we didn't know what to do. She's like, Mom, what do we do? Mom, what do we do? What do we do? And she's like, pray. So we started praying. My brother and I, standing there, half naked in our underoos, no shirt, no shoes, nothing else, praying. They take my dad back to surgery. We're sitting in the waiting room, and my mom goes, are y'all praying? We're like, yeah, Mom, we're praying. All right, Marcus, what are you praying for? And Marcus, he goes, well, I'm praying for Daddy to get well, so he can come home and take care of us. And I was like, oh my God. Morgan, what are you praying for? Well, I'm praying for Daddy to get better here in the next hour so we can get home and make that last hour of cartoons. I thought I was going to be in trouble. But it doesn't matter how you pray as long as you're praying. That's what she told me. I was like, okay. So we started praying for Daddy to get better. Daddy got better. Daddy came home. Life was good. Life was great. My granddaddy always said, after that, Jim Warren, you're right. The Lord will be with you if you carry the Lord in your heart. But always remember, you will lose everything. You have faith in your heart, you will be fine. 1998, I'm in college 2 months before I was supposed to go to the Navy. Slide into second base. Blow up, break every single bone in my foot, my ankle, and my leg. They take me to the hospital, and in college, I worked my way through college, paid my way. I'm not expecting any debt forgiveness. So I'm saying, I go to the emergency room, they split my leg, compound fracture, advantage of, split my leg, send me home. I have no insurance, I have no money, zero, zilch. That was on a Tuesday night. I'm laying in my house up at St. Lucie State University, on the ground, pair of shorts, legs split, and the worst pain I've ever experienced in my entire life. just praying to God to let me pass out. I'd have to crawl from the living room floor into the bathroom, turn the shower on to go to the bathroom with myself, and fall out of the tub, crawl back in the living room, and lay there until I could fall asleep, and then wake up a couple hours later. And when you're alone and in pain, which I'm sure everybody's experienced this, you reach out to the Lord in a different way than you would if you were having a great day, right? It seems you always go chasing Him when you're in a bad spot. Well, I was looking for Him. And a buddy of mine showed up on Thursday afternoon, and he's like, what is happening to you? And the reason I couldn't get surgery on my leg is because I didn't have any money, and the hospital wanted money. My buddy walks in, strokes the check, prayers are answered. Go in and have 3 surgeries. Plate and 8 screws in my right leg right now. Put it all back together. A recruiter from the Navy shows up a couple weeks later. He's like, where you been? Walks into the house, sees my leg. He's like, okay, come back. He comes back a couple days later. He's like, hey, buddy, you're out. All I ever wanted to be was a SEAL. All I ever wanted to do was serve my country and go to the Navy and be a Navy SEAL. And he just walked in the house. He's like, you're done. You can't have, they won't let you into training with that injury, especially if you have all that hardware in your leg. And I lost it. I mean, I ugly cried right there in front of him. And I had no idea what to do. That's the only thing I ever wanted in my entire life, and it was gone. It had been taken from me. And I was lost. And I was laying on my bed on my pillow, crying my eyes out. And I rolled over on my back and looked up, and I'm like, I literally started talking out loud to the Lord. I was like, what do I do? And like this warm flush came over me. It's like, keep going. So I got up and started doing push-ups. I put a trash bag around my leg. I started swimming. I wasn't going to let one person told me to find me, because I have the Lord tells me, keep going. I flew out to San Diego after I got my cast off and there was a screw in my ankle joint that they pulled out. They pulled that out, and I flew out to see my brother who was in SEAL training at the time. He's like, hey, I've set up an interview for you. And the rest is history. I stood in front of the doctor, like, if you give me a chance, I'll graduate #1 in my class. 2 years later, that was the case. I put my faith in the Lord. I was like, if you just give me that chance, I will never sit down. I will never stop going. God, I promise you, if you let me into training after all of this, I will never slow down. And He granted my wish. And I graduated #1 in my class and spent 14 years in the SEAL teams. I gotta tell you, man, he'll push you, won't he? He's got a plan for you. Got into SEAL teams, life was good, life was great. 2005 in June, get a phone call from my team. Hey, your brother's platoon, they're all gone. And your brother's gone too. You got the word that my soulmate had been killed in combat. The person that I have known since before I hit the deck, the person I love more than anything in the world, had been taken from me. And don't worry, my wife is down with him being my soulmate, so I know somebody's going to tell him, said you're not his soulmate. You're an identical twin, you get it. Montgomery County turned out, Walker County turned out to our ranch, and we prayed and prayed and prayed for my brother and our teammates to be rescued and found. And 5 days later, the good Lord, He blessed us. Marcus was rescued. And I got to tell you, I learned a lot in that time, because that was when I had lost the most. Something that I had known forever. And when that prayer was answered, it really changed my life, because I had seen the best and worst of humanity in the world, and I never felt pain like that. Not even with the leg, not even with that scene in combat, when they took my brother away from me. I never felt pain like that before in my entire life. But the Lord gave my brother back to me, right? And I promised him, like, if you bring my brother back, then I'll spend every single day with him. And we have ever since. I'll never leave his side. I'll call him up, tell him I love him every day. I'll keep my promise to you. And I have. Fast forward to tape, we lost 19 of my teammates, my best friend, 2 roommates, and my twin brother that day. 19 of us. 19 funerals in 1 week. Fast forward the tape a little bit, in 2011, I get a call again. Hey, your best friend's dead, and so are all of his teammates. 2011, I lost 3 roommates and 31 teammates. And that's not something that I can express to you what that feels like. That amount of loss in that short period of time will challenge everything about you, even your faith. But I was raised that from my granddaddy, if you always have faith, you can roll back over, look up, and go forward. I get a call from my wife in 2013, and she's like, something's wrong with Gunner. Now I've got training. So I fly home, talking to the doctors, and they're like, he's probably going to not go full term, and he's going to be either, if he makes it, he'll be special needs. And anybody here that has lost a child, because they're telling us we're not going to keep him, we're probably going to lose him. And I didn't know losing your brother's one thing, losing the child is something else. And I know there's some folks in here that lost a child, and I pray for you every day, because something like that, the only thing you can do is take a knee and pray to the Lord. And we prayed and we prayed and prayed, and my oldest son, Gunner, is fine. The Lord took our second baby before we had the opportunity to meet him or her. And then our third child, who looks just like me, was perfect. It is a good looking SOB. I'm in the delivery room, catching him when he comes out. They put him in the basket. The audiologist comes in, takes him to get his hearing tested. Hour passed, and he never came back. I go walking down the hallways looking for this lady. I'm like, hey, where's my kid? And they're like, sorry, we didn't find you in time. He's in the ICU. He had aspirated fecal matter on the way out. And he was stalled in the birth canal, and he drowned. And I went into the ICU. Judge Beck said I could cry, and he already cried, so it's cool, right? I go into the ICU, and it was like a science experiment. I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. And I was like, oh my God, not again! I had no idea what to do. I had no idea what to say. 0 is my baby. Leave me again. And so I hit the deck. I didn't know what to do. I was literally lost. I was standing there for 2 weeks with him. Only guy, they wouldn't let me go to the bathroom in there next to me, so I had to go out to the bathroom and go back in. And I stood there and sang to him, and I read all the stories to him relentlessly. Never left his side. You know how long it takes to read the Bible? 2 weeks. And I read it out loud, which I'm sure if my son could talk back then, he'd be like, Daddy, please, audio book. You know, it actually took me like a week to get through Matthew trying to figure out how to say all those names. And I made the mistake of buying the Bible on audio book, James Earl Jones. Don't do that. I mean, he's like the book of Matthew. And I usually wake up around John. But anyway, I sat there and I was like, please take me. It's my turn. Don't take it out on me. I'm ready. I've done everything I promised you. I've done everything in this life that I know that I can do. Take me. And our prayers were answered, and Lincoln he's amazing, right? We get him out of the ICU, we take him home, they call us back a week later, blood test. Your baby boy has one of the rarest blood diseases in the world. Like, what does that even mean? He is the top 0.0001% of this blood disease. And we're sitting there talking, rambling on. And he's like, he's not going to be a good. He'll be frail, he'll be weak. Probably won't be a great athlete. I was like, oh. I'm sitting here going through all this in my head. My wife's praying. I was like, where does this come from? And the doctor looked up and he's like, one of y'all had it. So we went and got tested. And guess who has it? me. And I had a smile on my face from ear to ear when I found that out. I was like, that boy's going to be absolutely fine. Because I was a Navy SEAL, I'm a Harvard grad. I was like, we got no issues whatsoever. And he was flourishing. 2009, I was in a helicopter crash. Broke my back, traumatic brain injury. And this is kind of a funny story. I was laying there, and I kind of came to, and I woke up. When I woke up, my brother was having to clean me because I couldn't move. I couldn't play. You know, you really, because I got onto my brother. I was like, hey, look, man, I prayed for you, and everything, when you were missing in action, it was all me. And here I am laying in a hospital bed in a body cast, and he's having to clean me. And I looked over and I was like, karma, buddy, karma. I'm on this all day long. But I was laying there in bed looking up, and I was like, Lord, Morgan again. I don't know. Just get me out of this. We'll figure it out. And as I moved down those injuries and forward into life, and a lot of trials and tribulations happened to me, but since then it's been a journey. And I've always put my faith in the Lord when I get challenged, and I've been through a lot of things. I have, and it's just life. That's what this is. All the ups and downs, the roller coaster rides. It's life. And you have to take it as just that. And always having your faith will get you anywhere and everywhere you need to go. Victoria, a sprightly, young, beautiful woman, has a smile that will light the room up when she walks in. And when she was a baby, she contracted those two viruses and put her in that vegetative state. 3.5 years later, she comes out and she's locked in. She wanted to be a gold medalist in the Olympics. She wanted to go dancing with the stars when she was a baby, and then that happened to her. And I talked to her, and what she says is, I had faith in the Lord the entire time. My family, you heard her mama say I had to turn it over. I couldn't do it. I was exhausted. After years and years of dealing with that, as a parent, watching your baby go through all that, she's given a sedative, and she comes out of it. She comes out of it. We're interviewing her, my brother and I. She's telling us, and she's like, just my faith got us through that. And the family is elated. Our baby is back. The daddy is, my prayers were answered. And what do you think the first words that when she was able to speak in a full sentence were to her daddy? I teach a class on this case study. How many daddies we got in here? How many of you got daughters? First words that came out of her mouth when she was able to speak was, Daddy, they hurt me. And while she was locked in, couldn't move, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything, one of the staff members took advantage of her. She told my brother that, and I threw up. As a father in the first and last line of defense, I had no idea what to do. I will only say what I think I would do if that was me. And what happened to? She's like, my daddy prayed for me the entire time I was in that position, and then it was my turn to pray for him. And they turned it over to the Lord. She is a thriving, beautiful young woman who is an Olympic gold medalist in the Paralympics. She was a swimmer. She was so fast that they didn't allow her to compete in the following Olympics. She was on Dancing with the Stars. She is an ESPN commentator, a motivational speaker. After she got out of the bed, out of the hospital, she was in a wheelchair for a number of years, couldn't walk. Her faith in the Lord says, I will not be denied. I want to be on Dancing with the Stars. Well, let's go forward and do great things. She's out of that wheelchair. She was on Dancing with the Stars. She cannot feel anything from the waist down. Wow. Ran the Boston Marathon 4 years ago and continues to thrive. Her story and my story, and the reason I show her, and the reason I'm sharing with you, is because the good Lord answered our prayers, and we are on borrowed time, in my opinion. I asked her that. She told me I'm on borrowed time. I'm on borrowed time. People ask me, how do you accomplish what you accomplish and do what you do? Because I don't have quit in me. I promised the Lord that I would never stop. Always remember this. finish line. The only finish line is when you're standing up there in front of the pearly gates and you step across and you're like, I'm good. Thank you, Lord. Please bless me. Let's go. I'm going to sit down for a second. And my story is no different than anybody else's. Period. I was actually reflecting what I said earlier about my daddy getting shot. My brother got shot too. I'm the only male in my family that hadn't got shot yet. But I am in politics, so there is still a chance. Ladies and gentlemen, I took my granddaddy's words, and I want you to, if you take anything out of this today and put a tool in your proverbial toolbox, you'll always know this. I was sitting right there last year. Right there. And Judge Mack was up here, and I wish to God I could remember what he said, but it was something along the lines like, could you imagine having a teammate like the Lord? And I guess through everything that I'd ever been through and everything I had lost, I lost my way. And he said, could you imagine having a teammate like that? And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh my God. I had to get up and leave, and I cried from my truck all the way to the next meeting I had down in the Woodlands because I opened myself up to the Lord again because for whatever reason, when he said that, I was like, yeah, he's my teammate. I mean, I could count on him for anything, like I was in the SEAL teams, and I counted on my appointment to say, I would give my life for my teammate. And I always said that, the Lord, I give myself to the Lord, but it changed me when he, right there last year, and after that day, I called him, I was like, can I please come up here and share that with all of the people that are going to be there next year? And he's like, heck yeah, come on, I need somebody. I was like, well, I can't promise you I'll be great, but I just want to get that out there, everybody. Because I think sometimes, and especially for me, maybe I'm only speaking for me, is that with just how the world works, you can say, you can pray, you can give yourself to the Lord, but man, I tell you what, when he said that to me, it just opened my eyes again. I was like, I literally think I was saved all over again. It's the greatest feeling in the world. I mean, I got no problems. And I'm in politics. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out. I mean, I was 2 minutes over, but God bless each and every one of you. I hope you take something from my story to Victoria's story.